we still have some technical difficulties. I am not going to help with that.
Did you even tell that story?
But we can get started anyway. Welcome, everyone, to the Granville Historical Society, third in a series of growing up in Granville. We did the 50s, which was well received. We did the 60s, which was well received. Statute of limitations ran out on a couple of things, so it's up to you folks now just to see if you can get by with the same stuff. Couple of things. This is an audience participation. You can ask some questions. They aren't really, you may have some ideas, but if you do, make yourself loud. Stand up if you want. Give your name, and then ask your questions. We're going to just give them basically some subjects and let them go. There's no set way we're going to do this. We just, if you look at them, we've got some talkers here. So, we're just going to basically turn them loose. So, by the way, if you aren't already a member of the Granville Historical Society, here's your great chance: $50 per household. Plenty of these are hanging on the wall there. So we're going to pass around a sheet also. It's going around, okay, to add your names if you graduated from Granville, maybe put your class graduation here. Anyway, so we have Jenny Lepart Richards. We have Richard Gosnell. So if you didn't know that, that's Toby. We have Beth Rucker White. We have Tim Blackstone. We have Darcy Durst Rufford. And we have Jody Weaver. So I don't know where you want to start, but I've got down school dance.
I will start by saying one thing.
Yeah,
Anything that did happen back in the 60s, late 60s or 70s, it happened at the Shane's house or Gordon's house.
Well, the first volley's been thrown. I got other things of teachers, best, worst, sports, band, town makeup, movies, wherever you want to start. I don't care.
Say it again. Yeah, what was that first
I just wrote this.
I just a few things,
School
yeah.
dances, were there school dances after the football games? I mean, where were we used to have dances in the Methodist church basement.
I don't remember that.
Well, I'm not old
Coffee house.
Coffee house.
Yes.
We're at the school.
Well, the Baptist church had youth center before the coffee center. Wasn't it called? Intersect.
We were in
Yeah. Intersect.
I do remember
That was-
the day that the parents would get together after the football games, like the coaches and their wives and stuff, and my dad was part of that group as a band director, and they'd walk into your house with like a 6-pack of beer, and my sisters and I would be sitting on the steps, and your parents would be like, didn't see. Parents didn't, or teachers didn't drink.
That was your house too? I lived in a brown house right next to the elementary school. And that was like the big place to the football games. All the parents would come there and everything. Kind of how I met my wife.
But yeah, it was a pretty good place to live. The ox roasts and all that stuff we used to have.
Yeah.
Elementary school was a hub.
So the coffee house.
Who ran the coffee
Where was the coffee house?
Above Granville.
Yeah.
That
smells
delicious. Yeah, I don't know who ran coffee.
Their parent volunteers, I'm not sure if it was the beginning of the rec center.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And it was after school and then on Friday and Saturday night.
Right, yeah. I remember my parents, when I started going, they got into volunteering.
Yeah.
Was there a pool table?
There was foosball
And,
and
yeah. And the bowling?
the
bowling
little
still
bowling
there?
with the bowling.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, the bowling with
The lanes were there.
The lanes were there, yeah.
Okay.
A little mini.
like a pup, yeah.
On the top of the table.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
That's good.
Well, we still have the Opera House, so we'd go to movies, the Opera House,
Over the movies.
yes, yep, yep. And and up at Denison, there was a movie theater there, so we would bum around up there. And I know what was the Baptist church, they had that great, space, so they did a lot of entertaining. We had dances there, and, they would open it up on Saturday, and kids would go play basketball, and they had a really nice youth group.
No, the, like the, education center next to the Baptist church in town.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it's still in
Right.
Hey, Greg, here's one for you, Greg.
What's that?
Here's one for you that my dad told me. My dad's 92 years old and he grew up in Granville. He was talking about when he was a young kid, you know, Saturday nights was a big gathering night in Granville. A lot of farmers would come in town and everything. He said back in the 30s and stuff, Granville was kind of like a farming community. And Granville didn't really start to grow until like the 40s. That's when it started taking off. But he said back in the late 30s and early 40s, on the backside of Gregory Hardware, he said they would put a sheet up on the wall and they would project movies up on it. So the kids would sit there and watch it while the parents came into town to do their shopping and stuff like that. They kept the kids busy, so that's kind of a neat story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What movies were at the Opera House?
Oh my gosh. So many.
Yeah, and I watched this cold.
The heat wasn't
Yeah,
working.
well, he wasn't working.
Like
It's
Dr.
frozen.
Chicago, so.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, I remember that. Oh, so many.
Original
And it was
King
50
Kong.
cents. 50 cents, yeah.
That's all.
50 cents.
Yellow Submarine.
And
There you go.
And
I saw
Granville was
that at
just,
the Opera
Granville
House.
was so small. I mean, it was just being a kid. It was just like, it was your world. You could go,
I
you could
remember when
go up to Denison. You could go, I mean, if you had a friend that was connected to Denison, my gosh, you could swim, you could do
Yeah.
anything at Denison.
we moved here,
Best French fries, Slater Hall.
when we moved here from New York, and it was a big school compared to a little school, everybody knew everybody. The thing I remember the most is you would drive through town, just driving through town to see who was uptown and, hanging out uptown or whatever. It reminded me kind of like American Graffiti,
Yeah.
when we would come in, because you'd have guys that had rumble cars, loud, obnoxious cars, and they'd go through and do that type of thing. But we always seemed to congregate outside of the coffee house and then head up and hang out there. But coming from a big city to a small town, American Graffiti, I still remember that kind of feeling of being in the country and
Speaking
farm
of going
town.
through town, you remember Mrs. McCluskey? She would wave to.
She knew it.
Yeah, it would be like, yeah.
Mrs. McCluskey, okay?
Out
the window.
I love Carol.
She's got some great stories.
She loves everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody loves her.
Yeah, that's right.
Who was the widow of a former Denison football coach who, when her husband retired from Denison, it was before Piper, but they gave him a brand new Edsel. And she still drove that Edsel. It was two-tones green. She probably couldn't afford to replace it. But if you saw that Edsel coming down the street, you ran. Because she was driving way after she up there by the Rutgers.
The only one I know that had an Edsel was Mrs. Loomis.
Yeah.
Oh. She lived all the way out on, she lived out on 61.
She lived up by the Rutgers.
I don't know.
She loved me.
By the way,
It's all on wheels.
that was Jack Burris. If you say something, give your name. Oh, that's all right. I keep forgetting.
You know, Mrs. Loomis was, an interesting person. But my family got to see a different side of her because this is the part I really love about Granville. My dad was a school teacher here for many years. When I was in 7th grade, he had a car accident, was never the same, tried to go back to teaching and really couldn't. I mean, we were in the hospital in the South for a month or so. Sisters came back with the Wisers who flew down to get them. I came back with Snake Carlisle and the Krauses who had been in Florida. And then my mom and dad flew back. In the meantime, my mom kept saying, charge everything in sergeants, I'll take care of it when I get home. You come back, there's no bill to be paid at sergeants. And Mrs. Loomis would come to our house after dad got home and practice the piano with him to help him learn to play the music. Just out of the kindness of her heart.
Embarrassing.
These are 3 men I admire very greatly. Chuck Weiser and Mr. Christian and my dad.
Be smart, but I'm wiser.
That's a great picture. So ornery.
Yeah.
I think Chuck Weiser made paddles for all of
Oh,
us.
yes, he did.
The shops.
He did.
It's a shop.
So I remember being in his class. Your first day of class was Chuck Weiser. He gave his little speech. He goes, "You may be wise, but I'm wiser."
Yep.
And don't call me Bud.
You what?
And don't call me Bud.
I actually have a Chuck Weiser story. He was industrial arts teacher. And he was also a baseball coach, among who knows what else. But he used to have a push-button Plymouth, automatic push button. You push drive or low or reverse.
Station wagon.
And I must have been, no, it wasn't, it had big fins.
Wagon was been after that.
And I must not have been too good at shot because he generally in baseball season, I would get the job of taking his car down to the baseball field, which was down at the far end of the elementary school, and dragging the field. He'd say, "Take my car down." I think he just wanted me out of the shot.
So, Greg, were you part of the group on the baseball team? You played with my brother Tom, right? And before practice, you guys were down there getting warmed up and everything. It was kind of cool weather, but they were supposedly wearing shorts, their ball jackets, and the girls were over there, cheerleaders practicing and everything. So a group of these guys were doing their jumping jacks. I was sitting up on the hill. Well, some of them forgot their shorts. They were out there in their jock straps.
Honestly,
They hurry up, put their
I would own up to that if I had.
hurry up, put their shorts on before the coach got them. So
I can't
I do have a picture.
Well, we were talking about streaking and how that was such a 70s thing. It's like such a bizarre thing.
Right.
Is that when that song was popular?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There was a song.
Daddy loved that song.
Did it.
Once a stranger in Denison.
For most
Yes.
people, too. For most people.
There were,
Keep it up.
he will remain nameless, but we had a gentleman in one of our classes that went through yeah, in your class, that went right through the middle of the gymnasium when it was full.
Yeah.
That was streaking.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It was, I wonder.
And he got caught. Yeah, he did. But, you know,
No, it
Grandma.
wasn't. What was that? He was older than us.
Mhm.
I could see him do something.
But your brother would eat
Pittsburgh.
anything that anybody asked him, like, it was basically a bet, kind of like, you can't eat that if you mix this together and that together and that together in the cafeteria.
And it was a yes.
Yeah. And for the benefit of some of the youngsters in the back, we were talking about the football field. The picture here, Of course, the high school that we went to was the new high school. So a lot of the events went, that building isn't even there where the administrative offices are.
Yeah.
Like I was in band and we would congregate there and march, down to the football field and so forth. Yeah. Yeah. Because there was no field out at the new high school. So a lot happened in town. And again, Granville was so small. I was thinking today, I worked at Taylor's, and I mean, after 7:38 at night, there was no traffic.
Yeah.
There might be one car on the park outside, and it would get dark, early in the winter, and I had to make the deposit over at Park, and I would run, with that bankroll, and
So those
there would be
Granville
no,
High
well,
Yeah.
crime. High crime in Granville.
no, it wasn't the high crime, but there were some characters. Let's just say there were a few characters that might be lurking around.
Oh, it's Granville.
We had our one cop, right?
One cop,
Victor.
yeah.
Barney
Oh,
Fife.
So if he was on one end of town, you knew you were safe on the other end of town.
There's Victor, yeah.
The starter's going out on the car, so it's like.
I think Victor locked himself out of the
You
crib.
did not get a
Probably.
ticket. I didn't get a ticket with Brad. Your parents gotta knock on the door.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
come to the door and say, Darcy has a little bit of a lead foot. You might want to talk to her about that. How's that?
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
He was a good. Red Pen, yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think the fact that the school activities, the football games, some of the baseball games were all in town because they were behind the elementary school and the Oxrose was there. It just seemed like everything, and the pep rallies. The pep rallies were epic. The fires were epic.
Oh, yeah.
The bonfires.
The
Bonfires
bonfires.
used to
That
do,
was,
yeah.
the homecoming
Yeah.
intros to the bonfire.
And it was just like, it's like everybody came out of their homes or whatever and like congregated in that area. And it was just a blast. I mean, there wasn't a soul that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Even when you were young. like,
Yeah.
Goofing around under the bleachers,
Yeah.
just like not even paying attention to the football game.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the elementary school opened up the gymnasium, they had games in there for little kids. Stuff.
And then running up to Granville Pizza afterward, the swinging door, just the smell of that.
I still get to smell it. I work next to Plaza.
Still the best pizza. It really is, seriously.
Mhm.
Thin crust.
I had a fort in the ticket booth for the football games. You remember the little ticket?
I was there on that for you.
Yeah, Beth and Susan and I.
Susan Stark and
We
I.
broke into it
Oh,
and put
Susan
David
Stark.
Cassidy posters all over. It'd be like 100 degrees. We'd be in that little booth like,
Like hanging out, just like doing nothing, but like being like, we're in here.
we had put posters there. I don't think the Kiwanis or the boosters knew that we were using it all summer.
I mean, we were like in fifth grade, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
I remember a thing about the Oxrose. I remember it was a big deal if your mother came to get you out of school to go to the tent for lunch, because otherwise you were gonna eat in the school. You were not gonna go, they didn't just parade you out to the Oxrose and say, oh, give me your money. Your mother or father had to come, take you to the Oxrose, and then you were like, special. Like, it was a big deal.
Oh, and that's when the mothers, I'm not sure how many fathers did, but they
Mothers
like
often did more.
made like so many pies.
Oh, they made it, yeah.
Made it all.
Oh, yeah.
It was made by our families, our parents.
Yeah.
Coaches used to make slaw or something or something special.
Coaches,
Coaches.
Yeah.
They got together and made slaw. Charlie Cox was.
Charlie Cox,
Oh,
my
yeah.
my dad and mom worked with Charlie Cox at the
Oh, that's so
Oxrose.
sweet. I just heard from his wife, Barb, yesterday today.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah, he was a hero in the Oxrose.
Well, we got a lot of meat ready for him. Buck did before.
I'm sure you did.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Oxrose was, and you said you guys tried to redo the.
We tried to redo it.
Not the same feeling.
I mean, at the high school, you mean the last like 10 or 15 years or whatever, like the things they did before the games that were like, it wasn't.
Yeah, the tailgates.
Yeah, tailgate type things where you can just
Yeah.
give $5 or $10 and get your sandwich and everything.
Just wasn't the same.
No, it wasn't the same.
No.
It was something to have to do with those tents and the lights under the tents and all that food that was made by everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
simplicity of life.
Yeah.
They dig a pit right out there by the kindergarten.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You cut the ox down there.
Oh, I was gonna say, there was an ox that was actually
Yeah,
roasted.
yeah, they dug a pit.
Makes sense.
I was wondering that too.
I just figured he did it.
Well, the old coaches,
Yeah.
They did it at Dennis.
oh, the old coaches stand around drinking beer all night long. cooking
Right.
ox.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Somebody mentioned it, wasn't it amazing too, that Taylors, Welshes, Blackstones, and what's the other,
Fullers.
Fullers, all had accounts that you could walk in, just buy something and
Just charge it. Black charges sergeants.
Walk away, yeah,
Yeah.
Fullers.
It was
Yeah.
Welsh
Welsh.
sergeants, Fullers.
Yeah.
and Taylors.
And we all
And
delivered.
Scots, I have
Scots,
Scots.
yeah.
All delivered.
Yep.
They would deliver. Yep.
My husband still makes fun of me that to this day. He's like, my parents didn't give me money to go get snacks uptown. This is charge account. You know?
Yeah, I didn't either. No.
Yeah.
And then I think it was long about, I don't know, later in high school, and my dad got these bills, and he was like, 265, 265 at Fuller's every weekend. And Becky and I weren't buying candy bars anymore. We were buying Michelob.
In the back.
In the back, yeah.
Get back. And my dad was like, no more charge accounts there. And he,
We haven't got a down yet.
I was gonna mention that. When you were 18, you could buy beer, so that was a lot different, you know.
We
I
weren't
didn't have
18.
to, I was charging it.
You always had a friend with an
I had a charge account for Germany when I was 16.
Well, and you used to go get cigarettes for your mom too. I mean, like legitimately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I
Yeah.
got busted in Welch's.
I like that.
Yeah.
I charged myself
Not
a
us.
carton of cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's like
And,
$5.
and the penny, before beer, penny candy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, not to bring up Taylor's, but Taylor's, I know the small Cokes were a nickel.
Yeah.
The large ones were 10 cents. If you added flavoring, it might have been a little
Phosphates.
more.
Phosphates,
Phosphates,
vanilla phosphate.
or a cherry Coke or something like that. The pretzel sticks were a penny.
Do you guys remember Jiffy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jimmy
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say Jimmy George.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy George's.
No,
Yeah.
Jimmy George was on the
Other side.
He's on the
No, so it's-
Yeah, the other side.
Yeah.
It's,
the dark side.
next to Scott's or whatever.
Yeah.
Pyramids for my grandmother
Yeah.
and, hankies for my
Hour off.
grandmother.
Oh.
What was the record store? I forget.
I was just
What
thinking.
was the name of the record
Lower
store?
level?
Yeah.
What was it?
No, the lower level was
No.
under, no, the record store was up by Jimmy George.
Starts with
Yes.
an A.
What was the record store?
Acoustics Unlimited.
That's it, Acoustics
Yeah.
Unlimited.
Yeah,
Nicely
yeah.
done.
We spent a lot of time in there.
That's.
Yeah.
It
Over
was-
by Jimmy
it was-
George's and Scott's.
Yeah.
Before Granville left.
I forgot
Yeah.
all about
Yeah.
that.
For Granville Electric, yes.
And then the lower level was under the Town and Gown, and they did leather works. Remember? And beads. Leather works though, they made their own belts
I
and.
never went there.
What was over by Dr. Sheffler's
You missed
office?
out.
I'm sad.
There's
Yeah, the
a
lower
little store
level.
there.
The lower level,
Yeah.
had all leather in there.
Brushes?
Remember the-
Oh, there was a-
Children's
yeah.
stick-
There's like
Yeah.
a psychedelic
They made-
stuff.
Yeah, there was on the other
Alley
side.
cat?
Buy incense and all that stuff in
There
there.
was Alley Craft. Yeah. Alley Craft was in the alley.
We probably would.
Where they would have craft
alley?
things in the alley between
Probably
sergeants and,
My mom worked at Granville.
what was the
Library.
name
She
of
was
that?
like
I
the only
can't remember.
woman
You're right, there was a
And I'd go up to
Hall
Threshers
party
after
member.
school.
It
And
has
then
a
the
Zodiac
19th
sign
grade
up
Joe's
there.
wrapping papers there.
Huh?
Wrap rolling papers there.
So my lumber company, go to the bathroom and change clothes, and the guys would be to my mom, oh, you should buy. This is how I got half my clothes. When I was little.
What do you think about brushes?
Yeah, they were like, take your clothes out on consignment, then.
They used
Oh,
to say,
yes,
Mom, I'm gonna
yes,
say that.
yes.
See if your mom will buy it for you. And I say, Mom, come on, you know, and then she'd be like, well, I don't know.
My brothers and sisters,
Again?
and we modeled for them.
Yeah.
So this is a picture of Michelle and I at the Granville parade one year. We're Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and we're on back then it was called Granville Children's Corner.
Oh, yeah.
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 It was Thrush's first, and then Granville Children's Corner.
Yes, I think
Right.
correct.
So that's Michelle and I, and I'm Minnie and she's Mickey, and we're on the float. We're about to get on the float. Why they did the Disney thing, I don't know.
But was Granville Children's Corner, wasn't that in the lower half of
The Opera
lower
House.
section of the Opera House?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was,
Okay,
Thrush's
But it was Thrush.
Children's Corner.
Yeah,
Right.
Thrush's
All
Children's.
one, yeah.
Thrush's
Yes.
Children's.
Yes.
No, but they changed their name, it's the same place.
Yeah.
It was under the Opera House. Yeah. Where we got our toe socks.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one, isn't it?
Oh,
yes.
The red one, yeah. The red one, everybody had that.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. You didn't have it, you weren't cool.
Right.
Just that wonderful bookstore, going downstairs, going down those
Creaky
With the
steps.
wooden
steps.
Yeah.
Or the-
Yes.
It's just like you look around and the smell, that basement smell. all the-
Yeah.
Mr. Young.
Scrambled times.
I worked at Alien Duncan, remember Alien Duncan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Our father used to go back, because he worked in Lancaster, Ohio, and she would have Daddy pick up glassware and all this kind of stuff from this artisan down in Lancaster and bring it back up to Granville every so often. And so he would get some really good deals for jewelry from Mother because of that. And she had some really nice.
She had fabulous things.
She did. She had gorgeous
Yeah.
things. But yeah, he did that for years for her. I'm not sure how they struck up that bargain. Who knows? But Mother has some really beautiful bracelets and stuff from
Alien
that.
Duncan, Canards.
Alien
Oh,
Duncan.
yeah, yards, too.
Well, then this is keeping that tall house on.
Yeah.
All right, the tall house.
We do have
I
the
didn't walk in there.
Canards, what do you call those things? The fixtures, the cases, they're out there in the other rooms. We
And we
use
have a
them
display of Canards.
yes, but we use the Canards cases as display cases here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, the ones that were, yeah.
Yes, we have the taller ones and
Oh, neat.
the shorter ones,
Was
so.
that their last name?
Canards, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's interesting.
But remember it was Eileen Duncan and she had a place in Granville and it said like
Michigan and
No,
Palm
Florida.
Beach.
Palm Beach. I was gonna say Palm Beach. I don't remember Michigan.
Yeah.
But I remember the sign said Granville and
Toski,
Palm
Michigan.
Beach.
I don't remember
Nice,
that.
Chris.
How do you know that? Tell us, Chris.
Well, my mom owned the shop after Aileen. She
Oh,
bought it
that's
from Aileen.
right, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, she was an interesting
So
woman.
did she get that all three or just?
Oh,
that?
no, no, no.
Just that one?
No, she had long since closed the other two, but, yeah, Aileen was an interesting woman.
Eclectic, eccentric.
Very eccentric, yes,
Eccentric.
yeah.
Are you Chris DeMent?
Yes,
Oh, when you said that, I know your mom. I remember.
Yeah, we're supposed to say her
she's
name.
well. I actually asked her to that tonight. but-
Oh, that would have been
Yeah.
great to see.
Well, we talked about the Ox Roast and fall and football and all that, but of course, the opposite of that is the time of our life. 4th of July, Spring Valley.
Spring Valley.
I know people have things, memories there.
Dibble dabble.
I have to say, again, Spring Valley was just, everybody has, it's in their heart, I know. But my family would come out to visit us from New York and they were appalled because it wasn't a crystal blue pool. But I have a picture of my nephew, first they loved the watermelon, or the 4th of July things, the greased watermelon off the pool. I mean, these guys are 30 years old and they still talk about going to Spring Valley. But my nephew, I have a picture of him where he came up to me and there's a frog in his hand that he fished out of the swimming. So that was a cherished, just an incredible cherished place. I so wish.
There was usually
Good
a
thing it was
snake
in the
once
floater.
a year.
Yeah.
Well, there were some floaters.
Yeah, when you get to Spring Valley Cruise, I
Yes.
25 cents to go get that floater.
Oh, my God.
Oh, the shower sharing.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, we were just having. Over.
And 9 times out of 10, we got ourselves there on our own. Like we either walked or rode our bicycles or thumbed, whatever.
Yeah, it was safe to do so.
Yeah, our parents
Not
did
like
not
now.
ever take us.
I remember when it was sand bottom.
Yes, yeah, that was nice.
How many of you went there at night?
Went there at night swimming.
How many had clothes?
I didn't go there at night.
How many got yelled at or spotlighted for doing that?
That would have been fun.
Not when the spotlight came out.
That was probably more the 80s for us.
Nowhere to run.
70s, we were little kids.
Yes.
That's why you went to
Spring
Lake
Valley
Hudson.
every once in a
Yes.
while.
Yeah, Lake Hudson. Yep.
Concert. Didn't they would have dances, concerts there? That was just like magic. I know
What was
we-
the band that used to be down here on South Main Street? They used to play out there at Spring Valley all the time. They used to practice.
Loco weed.
Loco.
Oh
Weed.
my gosh, yeah.
We call local weed.
They lived at the house by Choco's.
They drove around it.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. What was,
Oh, and a
was it a frat house or was it, no. I mean, the house where the parking lot at the Granvillian is now. I just remember a trick or treat. And there was always Denison students. I can't remember if it was it was what?
A gray stucco house, Dr. Lovelace's house. It was where the Catholic Church was founded.
Okay, but
And then it became a Denison
rental, okay.
And it was problematic because the women it had that huge porch.
Yes.
And it had that huge flat roof. And the women would sunbathe out there without the aid of their tops.
Yes, that's why I remember it so well.
Before the Buxton was restored,
I wore a lot of tires out, like riding by there on my bike.
there were people who would try to get onto the balcony of the Buxton so they could look across the street.
That is hilarious. That's a good one.
I miss the characters. You know, we had Brother Marshall
Oh, yeah.
and Elmer and Junior, and these guys were they were just, you know, Granville had characters.
Right, part of the fabric.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and they were just pleasant people. I mean, Marshall could get a little
Yes.
surly at times, but
We were so young though, and we were just like,
So you remember the one
we got
guy,
used to it.
he always wore a gray sweatshirt. And he kind of had like a barrel chest. He had this wax mustache.
Yes.
oh, that was he used to come into my mom's shop
Yeah.
and buy Mum Taz incense.
Yeah.
It was French incense. What was his name?
Yes.
No, but we were all scared to
He
death
always
of him.
wore.
I think
Oh.
he had to
Yes.
I'll
I can't
think of
remember
it.
his name.
I'll think of
Yes.
it. No. I never knew him as anything but Mr.
I never heard him talk.
He had handlebar mustache and always walked around like he was a French legionnaire.
Yes, yes.
And yes, and he would buy. My mom bought Mum Taz incense just for him. He was the only person that ever bought it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And
She kept it in stock for him.
yes, she did.
Yeah.
And he wrote real long articles in our local.
Did he?
Oh, he did. They went.
Yeah, articles
on,
and letters.
big words, and they went on, but he finished. This is really.
Oh, what was his name?
Who remembers French fries with gravy or French fries with ketchup and
Lettuce,
lettuce?
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Or the yum yum.
Yum, yum.
Yum.
Oh, the yum yum. Why they got rid of that, I'll never know.
Yum yum.
Mrs. Remy passed away.
We lived next door to him.
She'd make that all night, at night,
Yeah.
for the next day.
So nobody'd see the recipe.
Oh, good Lord.
That's right. You had to hide it.
It makes sense. I mean, it was so good.
So good.
And then what about red velvet? Evergreen.
Oh.
Evergreen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Breakfast at Evergreen.
Oh, evergreen.
That was my first job out of, while I was in high school, was working at the Evergreens for Doris Steeman and
Bill.
John.
Big John.
Yeah.
John. and she made us wear white dresses or skirts and tops had to be white with white shoes. And I didn't like the waitress white shoes, so I got Stan Smith's, like the tennis shoes. And I wore those because I was gonna be cooler than the waitress that she wanted us to
Was
be.
Paula working there when you were there? My sister, Paula worked there. Really?
I don't remember.
Mary Ellen. probably.
Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen trained us all, and she babysat me when I was little.
My sister Debbie worked there through high school.
Does anybody remember the big, huge water flow air conditioner that was in the new dining room? It was a really advanced, early air conditioner, and the water flowed over, and it cooled the room. And it was a Chrysler product. It had a huge Chrysler emblem on it.
I remember the mural.
Was it the
And
map?
Is it the
It was
mural?
across from the mural.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on that outside
Isn't the
wall.
mural in here now?
I don't believe so.
Oh, I remember the mural too. That's interesting. I didn't know.
What caused the fire there? Does anybody remember what caused it?
Oh, do they? I
It
think
was
it
a grease fire.
It was a grease fire. There were two of the kids that were working there were taking class with my daughter. And they had gone in early to do something and it just got away from it.
The doors owned racehorses.
Yeah.
She was.
So did Carl Welsh.
On what, Wednesday night was spaghetti night.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember a man, speaking of people in fabric of Granville that made it more interesting, this man came in here into Evergreens almost every day, and he had white hair and he drove a great big huge Cadillac.
Ray.
Oh,
Ray, yeah.
that was, yeah. It
Rod
wasn't a
Ray.
Cadillac, it was a Lincoln.
Rod Ray.
Lincoln?
Rod Ray.
Rod Ray.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he wore a cowboy hat most of the
Yes.
time, yeah.
Now talk about a character.
Could be Quisenberry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He was a very big guy.
yeah, it was Rod Ray though, if he drove a big,
Oh, yeah.
big,
Mr.
Continental.
Quisenberry, that's
Yeah.
true.
Quisenberry, he drove.
Yeah.
He came in daily.
No, I think they-
Well, and Flo and Al Johnson were there every night. He was a retired Edison
Yes,
controller.
the Johnsons.
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah.
live on Cherry?
No,
Yes,
that's not
and
who I'm
that
thinking of.
Greek
I'm thinking of
Yes.
a character dude.
Because
Yeah, that
they
was-
lived
Next to
Rod
in
Ray.
Huskies.
They had
Yeah.
lived up
I'm not
there,
thinking
they
about
had
it,
the big, huge colonial revival on Mount Parnassus. And then their retirement home was the Greek revival on Cherry Street. But they were there every night.
How many of us didn't lock our doors?
Oh,
None of us.
I mean, we never locked
I-
our doors.
Why?
I was thinking of a story today. My mom, well, they never locked their doors. And a sheriff, for some reason, it was a civil matter, came to the house and had to leave some papers or something. Knocked on the door. The TV's on, house is unlocked, stuff simmering on the stove. Ma'am. And she came home and he said, "Oh, I was scared to death. I thought something was wrong." She said, "Well, I just went to the IGA. I was going to be right back." And, that's just the way it was.
Did people remember when the IGA opened?
71, maybe?
Well, it was like. they had
Oh,
a
it
whole-
was-
they
yeah,
had a
it was
whole
scandalous.
row of Frozen cases. And Fuller's had one little,
Yeah.
we didn't know what it is.
Why
was
Because of all the
Oh,
grocery
because
stores that
the
was
mom and
competitions.
pops.
Competition.
Remember milk being delivered in your house? The milkman?
Oh, we had a milkman, we had eggman,
Don Griffith.
we had Mr. Johnson, the dry cleaner guy, used to bring dry cleaning, just hang it right in the house.
Jones. Jones is right there.
We have,
Yeah, Jones did dry cleaning.
well, to get back to characters, we have one that I think probably a lot of people know, but they lived in Mount Parnassus, and her name was Mrs. Ullman.
Gordon.
And we took piano lessons, and
Yep.
every,
lives in her house.
The condo.
oh, their condo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we were talking about the piano
yeah.
recitals here.
Karen was in there.
Well,
And we would dress up in our long little dresses. Julie did a duet when the Saints come marching in. And I don't know what you played, but I found an old program. And I mean, it was kind of bizarre, but this common experience that we had, because we would go there for piano lessons after school, we'd walk there from school.
Walk up the hill.
And she was an icon at Spring Valley.
Yeah.
With her beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little ladies said,
Roller, rolling, and Jones said.
"When you're gonna run, but then they had to stop."
Yeah.
Ladies.
She had a string well,
Right.
right?
So they got all about that. They were
She
giving.
also had a really beautiful collection of antique glass in her dining room, and displayed in the windows. It was just
Yeah.
gorgeous.
They
There was
built-
fruit in it.
They built that same thing in the condo, and their front of those windows have just shelves all the way across.
And she had pet raccoons.
Oh, yeah. They fed them.
Yeah, she was.
Well, it was kind of a big deal when Harold took.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here was
Yeah.
Harold's was great.
Well, I mean, it was, we had fast food.
Yeah.
The only one.
When did
And
Harold's
we could
open?
go there on our lunch hour when we were
Probably
like, was
70.
it just the senior year we got to go?
Three.
Yeah, we had senior privilege. Yeah, you could leave. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we went to
could.
Yeah,
we went to pizza.
Felt like a bat out of hell.
We went there. We went for
After baseball games, like the Little League baseball
Oh,
games,
that's
that were.
Well, I was too young to walk there then.
Took up my entire summer,
Yeah.
you know, and
Green.
go there after the games this summer.
Oh, that was, wasn't that like in that eighties reminding us?
Back later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that was.
Just from here.
You remember Lum?
There was Lori and me and she worked for that.
Marcy, do you remember
I'm sorry?
when we were seniors, we were the first and last class that had open campus.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks a lot.
What year was that?
So, when we were seniors,
You guys were doing acid in the woods or
if
what?
you didn't have class, you didn't have to be in school.
What was open campus? What did it mean?
It did not, I had
When you had
You
class.
should leave.
I had classes first, second, and third period, and I was done.
Oh,
Yeah.
and if you were, if
So
you
what did you do the rest of the day?
And if
We
you had
played
a study
softball.
hall around lunch, you had a long lunch.
Mostly.
Yeah, you could just leave.
yeah,
Weather
we did
permitting.
that senior year, but like, it was only for like, you got senior lunch was like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but you didn't just take off in the day.
Some of it.
Oh, he said.
think we
he
stopped
said that
out.
class.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I know, yeah, we got it in senior lunch, so.
Yeah.
Greg, you were asking about concerts up at Denison?
Yeah, there was.
Oh, my gosh, yes. They had
Yeah.
tons of notable.
Guffey Lane.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely, yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
Cheech and Chong, I saw John Denver up there, I saw,
Yeah.
I saw,
Then
you
they
could
had
just go out.
James Gang.
Oh my gosh, I mean, it was
Mountain.
endless.
Yeah, Mountain.
And the tickets were like $3.
Yeah. Well, what it was, back in that time,
Mhm.
one of the kids that went to school there, his dad was a big
A promoter.
promoter.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
And that's how they got these bands in there.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's the James Gang, and there's,
Wow.
Mhm.
I think my Marshall Tucker band was in there.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
Globetrotters.
there was a
Oh,
span
yeah.
about 2 to
We
3
went
years.
to the Globetrotters.
Yeah, really
Oh,
good
I
bands.
remember that.
There were some big bands.
And then there
Big.
were the plays on.
You remember that, John?
Tig Isles.
Yeah, there were some.
Tig Isles, Cheech and Chong, we saw.
You walk-
We seen the kids.
You walked in the Livingston gym, you didn't have to smoke marijuana because it's just,
Yes, yes.
man.
When they had that, and John Davidson was in several.
Oh,
Did you play it?
Yeah.
What was that?
The Big Blue Tent was where we're calling now. Yeah, every summer, summer, Denison Summer Theater.
Yeah.
Is that what it was called, Denison Summer?
Summer Theater, and they put on about, what, 6, 8 plays, one.
Yeah, it was
whatever
Harry,
week.
Harry and Gordon. Remember they ran a lot of that, Harry and Gordon, are you talking about the tent? Remember, Harry and Gordon lived on the corner of
Oh,
Main
yeah,
and
Harry
Elm.
Gordon, yeah.
Yeah, Harry, what are their names, Gordon
Condon.
Gordon
I don't know
Condon,
Harry's last name.
Harry. I just remember Harry and Gordon.
We talked about characters a little bit, Sally Jones. That's
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like
She was a
unique
good-
Granville character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't get caught on her land.
Yep.
Minnie Hunt Moody.
Minnie High Moody, I would walk by her house every day.
Oh, maybe that's Minnie High Moody.
You didn't want to stop in front of her house.
No.
Or
Yeah, that's right. That was her radio.
Oh, yeah. Mr. McDaniel.
I think
Still not working.
He was quite the character.
Always.
He was.
Remember they lived in one, was it on Maple? Down that area, the one where it goes up the hill. Yeah, they lived right at the top of the hill. And she.
Because it was,
Oh, yeah.
Chris Rucker and my brother,
Yeah, she.
Yeah, she was good.
Jay,
Yeah.
that class,
Every year ahead.
like, they were pretty crazy.
Ornery, obnoxious.
I try not to hang when you're not in.
What class was that?
Like, they broke the
79.
exit signs.
79?
Yeah.
Oh, or 80 people.
They didn't know some of our classes.
Alan, what year were you?
They were on Friday.
Because every day still.
Right?
Alan,
It was
Alan's
some-
sister.
I'm like 83. So Becky's 83, I'm 83. And your maiden name?
Sawyer.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Tim's.
Yeah,
Tim Sawyer,
Yeah.
yeah.
My babysat.
Mr. Sawyer.
See, the police is still looking for someone else.
Oh.
Steve Davis.
My babysat for the bankers.
Another Denison memory I wanted to bring up was the bowling alley. Because
Oh,
we spent a
yes.
lot of time up there. My dad worked up there, and as a kid going up there and like hanging out, he worked behind the counter. My parents were
Denison
both
bowling
in
alley?
bowling league.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a whole
I
nother
was
world.
there
Yeah.
2 nights a week.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, there.
Yeah.
Raise your hands, everybody be honest here. How many of you rolled a keg down off of Denson? Hands up. Come on, don't be more than 2 of us.
Stole it from the fraternity house.
Or,
The U house.
or slid down the hill on a tray.
Yeah.
Cafeteria tray.
Oh, we had to talk about Alligator Hill though.
Yeah, Alligator Hill, yep.
But
Yeah,
Denison,
it
when
was
you
okay,
think
so
of
we didn't have any,
Denison,
Denison.
to go with.
I-
We didn't
right.
You
Like,
bust
it
cork
didn't
out.
matter.
We'd bust
Right,
the
you just
cork out.
we were
Take it
Denison
there.
property.
We were townies. but
Yeah,
we hung out
they
up
didn't
there.
like shoo you off of Denison property ever that I remember.
No, we go up there after school.
AM in the morning.
Did we? Okay. I
I
mean,
won't
but
tell you
like,
who was with me.
we were always on Denison. We'd walk
Yeah, that's well.
over Denison to get to school in the morning and we'd home at night.
Speaking of Charles Summer Crossing, she was waiting for Susie and I one night. Susie and I were sneaking back into Susie's house and
Interesting.
So good.
Busted.
That happened to Susie a lot. I think her one arm is longer than the other. Because I was with her one night too. Oh,
Well, I was talking to these guys about how influential our brothers and sisters were with us. Like, my brother and sister were living the high life in the 70s with you, Darcy, and other people, and it just, we heard their music, we stole their records, we stole their maxi dresses.
Yep.
Like, I would try Tracy's maxi dress on with her peace sign.
Oh, yes.
You know, like, but we were little during, sort of like height of the 70s, but how influential your generation was on.
I still say we grew up in the best of times.
We did.
Oh, we
Yeah,
certainly
absolutely.
did.
Boy, you're not kidding.
It was good.
Carol King, Carly Simon.
Janice,
Todd Rundgren,
Oh,
Genesis,
yes.
Peter Gabriel. I mean, that was my sister. I listened to all of her music.
JT.
Skinner.
Yeah.
Skinner.
Oh, yeah.
Mad Dog.
It's the first time I heard it.
Does anybody remember?
Kings out at Cat Run.
Oh, my.
Generational.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
The satellite was for Cat Run, the bridge, and the cliff.
The cliff
And the bridge, yeah, these were all amazing places. And even I remember at the cliff, the sheriff would come out and commingle with everybody.
That went on for
Wild
years.
times.
Was that still going on when you guys were? The bridge and the cliff?
I mean, I don't remember, but other people in my grade did
Oh,
go out to Cat Run.
You remember everybody would meet uptown in front of Taylor's? Trying to
Taylor's
decide where we're gonna go.
Right?
We had our choices. You had Cat Run, you had the bridge, you had the cliff, you had the cornfield. And you had a choice of 2 cemeteries to go to. And I forget what, we used to go up on Jones Road where you turn right into that.
Quarry.
Yeah, the quarry, yeah.
No, the other way. You go up Jones Road and you turn right at the top of the hill.
Oh, yeah.
The houses, we used to drive all the way back in there. You could look down on the Granville Road.
Oh, right.
We always
Before
used
their
to-
housing.
Yeah, before the housing.
Yeah.
You used to
Oh,
go
yeah.
back in there.
Roads ran to the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right round it.
Yeah, there's all kinds of places.
Oh, the other thing we were talking about was the energy crisis in Union School.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Union School.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff, that influenced
Was
us
even
like
our wild
we were
years.
5th grade, you guys were.
We had our junior high there.
You had your junior high?
Yes. Yep,
You're right.
yep. 7th and 8th grade was at Union.
We had 5th grade.
We had 5th grade there, and then during the energy crisis.
The very
we did-
next year.
We did split
We did,
sessions. We
yeah.
did do that split
And
session.
then remember
For
that?
the
That was
first
short
time.
time.
You could only do half days. You
I was
couldn't go
scared.
till noon. and you
Yeah.
did
I know
it
what
for-
I was too. It was
I'm sure I didn't
crisis.
say it out loud, but that's what I was feeling inside.
Remember that?
was a
Did you
crisis.
think all we wore coats in
We were.
school?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have heat in school.
I literally thought we were all going to die.
Yeah.
70,
I
I
was
was,
school.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody wore coats.
76?
I think it's 76.
You know what?
Oh, well, that was another deal. But that, yeah, that's our side of town.
Yeah, there's a lot to hunt down there. So I want to bring up, who remembers Fanny Down?
Oh, yeah.
So that's our side of town, west side.
West side.
My brother lived there.
Oh, we did? In Fanny Down?
Yep, top floor.
Okay.
Was it apartments?
So Fanny Down originally was a building that Dennison owned that, missionary, Baptist missionaries' children lived there while they went on mission trips.
To Burma.
To Burma? Okay. And then later, it became apartments. Like, I remember the Prentices lived there.
Yep.
And your brother lived there.
And there was
anyway,
2 buildings. There was a larger building, then over to the left was a house. I don't
the house, I remember like the Carrions lived there when we were
Yes,
growing up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there was that fabulous spring behind it where
Where we played.
it was
all the time.
cemented.
Yeah.
So when you were thirsty, you didn't go home, you just went to the spring
Right.
and it was cold.
It's
It
very
was
cool.
amazing.
And we played in it all the time.
Oh, always.
yeah.
But anyway, the whole Fanny Down thing that we did, like growing up, that whole west side part of town was years and years of the Rod Williams Sportsplex.
Oh, yes.
Which was,
Was there a
you guys
baseball
remember
diamond
Rod
there?
Williams?
Yeah.
We played baseball, we played football, we played soccer, we played
It was
volleyball,
it was-
every kind of tag
It was wiffle ball.
possible.
Wiffle ball.
Yeah.
And the Finlands, remember the
Yeah, Mike,
Finlands?
yeah.
They lived right next door to
Oh, yeah.
the Fanny Down.
And the Gerbers and the Gallants.
The Gerbers lived down the way, the
They were
Gallants
all
were
right
there,
across,
Dixons
yeah.
were there, Weavers, Greg Green, he used to come down, Rod Williams.
Yep.
Anyway, I was much younger, so like we played wiffle ball like every single day there in the summer.
It's funny you talk about that, because back in 2019, when we had our 45th class reunion, I forget who I was talking to, but they grew up out on the west side. I was Granger Street, and we had the same thing go on our side
Sure,
of town.
Right,
Of course you
everyone
did.
had their.
We
Right, you had your, like-
we had the blinds, the butts, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In town.
And everything. Every weekend, we're at football and everything like that. I forget who was I was talking to about that. I said, man, we could have a World Series.
Oh, a neighborhood series.
We should have had cross-town competitions.
That's what I said.
I mean, we could have.
Mount Parnassus, we had the same thing. We had our little field we played in, and generations we played football.
We
Keep
played in the
away,
street.
Spud.
Yes.
We did on Spelman Street, it went, well, still goes between Pearl and Grangerville. We played foursquare out there, with the Stark Kids and the Petitos.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I had to go down Liddell Drive and play with the Max and the Brewbakers, the Shermans, and whoever else was there.
Sure.
But do kids do that anymore?
No.
Does anybody
No,
play
no,
outside?
they just do their
On
thing.
East Maple, they do. They're out in the street all the time.
That's
You're like, cars.
And in the winter on the west side, we went sledding down Thornwood
Yes.
Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Part of
Yes.
Thornwood, which was closed off, that was right next to my house.
Yeah, we had Alligator Hill.
And we would come down
We
on
did
the
that.
Cardinals Drive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we started at
And all the way
Cardinals.
through Edgewood. I
Yep,
remember
then I
one
went.
winter, it was so
I
snowy
was
and
up there,
icy.
we were up
It
there
started
every
to
day.
top and go
Yep.
all
Is
the way
there-
down. And all the
is there-
parents and
pull the
kids were
hood
out
off
at
of
the
the
same
car.
time.
Yeah.
It's just
Jumped
glorious.
on that thing. There was two of us sitting on the
Yeah,
front.
literally.
Had the
You
legs
talked about
hanging up
this, yeah.
and they went down, they go through, broke both his legs.
But yeah, Fanny Dome was a big deal back then. There was a lot of games. It was not just all those. It was Cavagrati's lived behind there.
Yeah.
The Cavagrati's owned the flower
A
shop.
flower shop.
And so we would use that little area and we'd go in between the house and the flower shop. We'd play capture the
Oh, my
flag
gosh.
a lot. That was another
Yep.
one.
What's there now?
A lady, a couple owns it. It's a house. Yeah, I don't think they use it for that extra space for anything. I'm not sure.
It's not a
the
greenhouse
What
anymore.
was the greenhouse called? What was the
Angley's.
flower-
And then the Ickuses were like catty corner from us.
But Anglers is where you got your moms.
Yeah, for homecoming.
With full football.
Yep.
I had this idea about the neighborhoods just being so tight, you know, and that, like maybe creating history by neighborhood. And then that'd be really interesting, the crossover of the different neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff. Because I was basically running around
That's
town,
good.
so I hung there, how it
Yes.
starts.
Yeah.
Well, I think that that's
Like
what
all
was
the
so
different-
wonderful about growing up when we did, is that, I mean, we didn't need our parents to take us anywhere.
Right.
Because we literally just get on your bicycle and go, or
Just
walk.
walk.
I mean, your mom was like, get out. In the morning,
Yeah.
she was like, get out. And if you don't get out, you're going to work. You're like, okay. I mean, like, I spent so much time at the Marshall's house, so much time at the Cardinals' house. I mean, I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to have to
Thank you.
work.
You're gone all day long, then
Absolutely,
You have to do your
until mom came out with low, she literally had a shell that had the, yeah, and she would blow it, especially if we were down at Penny Dome. And she would blow it and it would go. And all of us Weaver kids were like, gotta go, because if we didn't get there in a timely fashion, we were up shit creek.
And it was your call.
It was our call, and everybody knew.
Have you
Because we
started
had
on a
bells.
whistle?
Had a whistle?
Have you had a whistle? We had a bell on our bachelor.
No, my mom has a
We were
comfort.
down at the playground all the time.
Oh, that's true. You just.
I
have to
still have my
school.
bell, and then the Minis, which was up on Mount Parnassus,
Oh, yeah.
they had a big dinner bell.
Oh, yeah.
Did the bachelors have one? A bell on their porch, I feel like.
Oh.
Where all these bells was, I was hearing all the time.
Yeah, all the.
It's kind of a weird common thread.
Oh, we do it together.
We have a party line.
Party line.
You got them all.
Oh, party
I think
lines,
my
yeah.
brothers did. Oh, yeah, 582.
Except for
It wasn't 587, it was 582.
582, if you're in a private
So
line.
what were your home phone numbers?
I
0219.
I do 582. What was it?
0219.
Do you know other people?
Like diamond.
1383.
The 1300 was the Cardinals, and yours was 166. Oh, 606. Oh, what's the 1800 was
I still got one of them old black
Oh,
diamonds.
dude.
Do you?
It still works.
I still have my original number from when I was born,
No,
1618.
that's pretty cool.
And my husband keeps saying that we're gonna get rid of it
And you're like, no.
because it's $10 a month. And I'm like, well, no, we're not. Because I've had it since I was born and we're not changing it now.
Yep, I love it.
You were probably like disintegrate. poof up
When
into
we
the air
moved,
with
when
that
I
bundle of
moved back
pizza.
here, I bought my dad's house. And so then the phone company tried to change the number on me, and I convinced them that I couldn't because blah, 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 and then they let me keep it.
And then what names did you put in the directory? Remember the old Granville?
Oh, yeah.
Where you knew the husband and the wife, all the children, where they were, what the
yeah.
wife did.
Yep,
Remember that in the Granville?
yes,
The booster put it out,
yeah,
right?
yep,
And they would call the home
Yeah.
and say, okay, and so one time, they would ask for the parent, not parents, but what's your name, what's your occupation? What does your husband do, what does the wife do? What are the children's names? So one time they called my house and my brother answered the phone and he decided to give them a little bit of false information. Okay.
No,
Not Chris. My brother would have been Chris Rucker. So yeah, he said, the children's names are, what do you say?
Zelda.
Yeah, something terrible like Christopher and Zelda or whatever. And then they printed it. They printed it. And so of course,
Okay,
then
you
I
have
gotta
it.
look.
I gotta look. I'll look
You probably
upstairs.
have it. It's not Zelda. It's like really something like some terrible name or whatever.
When I was in band, we used to walk around the neighborhood downtown and we would sell spots on the calendar with your birthday.
yes, yep,
And you would go from.
Or
everybody would,
anniversary.
Buy the calendar then, and it already had birthdays on it of everybody that lived in the area that chose to put their birthday.
Wow.
yeah, I forgot about that, Joyce.
Well, and we
That's how
grew up,
made money, and heaven forbid that you walk house to house nowadays.
oh yeah, it's not happening.
And in the band, you had those heavy uniforms on the 4th of July.
Oh, yeah,
Or-
kids
Yeah,
now
right.
wear shorts,
Well,
yeah, we had to wear the whole thing.
Well, we went to camp one year and we were gonna get our matriarch pictures done. And we were trying to decide we were wearing a summer uniform or a winter uniform. You'll appreciate this, Lacey. Because I'm walking in the hall and I hear Judy and somebody else talking and they're saying, we can't wear the winter uniforms because Darcy's sweats like. My memory of matriarch.
Well, this is really random, but Miss Majorette, when did they quit doing the fire batons? Because you could never do that now, somebody gets sued.
I don't
The
know
fire
what
batons, that was such a big deal.
Did it? I think they still do.
Yeah, a few years back, we had a incredible.
I did,
Yeah.
but when I was little, I had flashlights.
Oh, you had the, yes, I remember.
Fire batons, I had flashlights.
To practice.
I'm gonna tape my.
Did you guys have fire batons? Yeah, I think it ended pretty after.
But it did come back, for
But it
sure.
was
Oh,
only
really?
during homecoming night. It wasn't every
Yeah, no,
night.
no, no, no.
It was
No,
only
it was
homecoming.
special occasions.
Special occasions, right?
And then sometime during our high school years, well, no, it wasn't our high school years. It was before that, because my dad was still a band director. He had lights on the
Mm-hmm.
uniforms, do you remember that? It was a big deal. The lights went down in the stadium
Yes.
and all the
Yes.
uniforms had lights going up there.
And everybody
Oh, I was
was
in
battery this big that they were
Oh,
attached.
Big deal.
And they'd wiggle loose and the lights would go off and on.
Yeah, that was a big deal, yeah.
It was beautiful when it worked.
Yeah, you guys were ahead of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, circling back to the telephones, you couldn't do anything in town or anywhere. Because before you even got home,
Yeah, you were told.
your mom or your dad knew. I mean, like your mom was like standing there, like she knew. Wait until your father gets home, which is like, so I heard that 3 times, and by the time I was like old enough to like try to get in trouble, I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting in trouble. I've seen it happen 3 times. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting in trouble. I've seen their asses getting beat too many times.
My sisters.
No, thank you.
She feared my father.
I did. I was like,
He was
I've
at
seen the
least
paddle.
30.
I've seen it all. I've seen it's not going to go there. But seriously, it's like, how did you know that so and so? Like, how did you know Terry did this? It's because everybody knew everybody.
Everybody knew
And it was a
Yeah.
phone call away. Yeah, you know, your daughter's down here, blah, 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 and you're like, yeah, you were screwed. Yeah. So
My dad was in Columbus with every.
Yeah, yeah.
And they did know everything.
Oh,
They
God
did,
bless those
absolutely.
Hawaiians. Yeah.
I'd like to know who told my mom about my stuff. She knew everything,
It was me.
I guess.
Me and Susan Stark used to climb up on top of the elementary school
Oh,
and
my gosh.
had picnics.
Oh,
And
sweet.
one time it was like, I don't know, it was
Get up there.
asphalt up there. I don't even know. It was like really hot. But we did it. We climbed up the gutter and we totally got busted.
You climbed up right there at the corner by my house.
Yep,
Up the window, they had concrete, jump up that. then-
Exactly. And then my mom got the call.
Oh, we used to
Your
go there and hit
daughter and
balls off
Susan
the
are
roof
up
like
there
Yeah.
having a picnic. I was like,
I can see that happening.
Heavy Stark was a cool one.
Yeah. Well,
No.
she worked in a James store.
Yeah, she was sweet.
the time.
The Times and the James, you're right, the Times.
Times first.
You're right.
I pretty much know all the people that worked uptown.
Yeah.
Johnny Huffman. and-
Sure.
yeah.
Don't you miss picking up sandwiches that are Blackstones?
I
Every
totally-
time we would come home for summer, we'd try and do a bunch of stuff, and like if we were getting ready to go like to Kings Island or somewhere for the day, the first stop was Blackstones.
Always.
Everybody got to go and pick out their sandwich, their cookie, their chips, and then we were on the road.
And we loved doing it.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
It was great.
I know those
Cheese spread.
the Kiwanis. I think what I remember, what was so magical, was that Daddy was a part of the Kiwanis, and it wasn't just that he was a Kiwanian. We, the family, were there as well.
Yes.
And so, you know, it wasn't just him collecting sap. It was all of us. It wasn't
Food
him
tent.
just doing, the food tent. It was all of us. It wasn't Daddy just doing the pancake. It was all of us.
Yes.
And so it was totally immersive for the entire family, which, you know, for Daddy on the normal Monday nights, he'd come home and he'd look at, what's for dinner? Yeah, I'm eating at the Granville Inn. I'm
We
eating
had soup night on Monday
Because,
nights because
yeah.
he refused to eat soup.
Yeah. So oftentimes on Monday, if he didn't like what Mother was serving, I wouldn't even be in tonight. And so he would go and do that. And I'm sure he had a beer or whatever.
So, my dad was one of the charter members of Granville Sertoma,
Oh,
right? And you all remember the over-under game at the 4th of July?
yeah.
Yeah, that was them. That was their fundraiser. And they did that for years, and then Granville decided that it was gambling and they can't do it anymore. But that was their huge fundraiser
Yes.
for their philanthropy was speech and hearing. And they actually funded the speech and hearing center that Barb Leckner ran or did run. I don't know if I don't doubt she's still part of it now, but it's still there. But anyway, they would go Monday nights and they went to the LNK.
Oh,
And the
nice.
LNK and yeah.
I mean, I don't know how Kiwanis works anymore. I mean, I'm not a part of that organization. But the fact that they were just like brought the entire family.
Right.
The family were involved
Yes.
in what was going on. And it was really kind of a cool thing.
4th of July, I was never missed
Oh.
a minute.
Exactly.
They were all-
Exactly.
Huge,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, including the night before.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, everybody went uptown.
Lights up, that's the big deal.
Oh, and the Nichols. Adair Nickel, Becky and Rob, and the kids, we would meet them in town. And I don't know whether we had something from Taylor's or what, but we would sit there every year and just watch them put up the 4th of July. And that was just,
And the day after is always magical. Well, it's still magical.
it is.
Because you go through town, it's all covered.
But the parades, even the parade was just so, I don't know, it was big. It was awesome. It was so, not fire trucks only.
And they had the neighborhood, you're talking about the neighborhood,
They
they
were
were
huge.
huge, they would
We don't
float.
have that
Yeah,
anymore.
yep.
Yeah.
I'm like 7 there and I'm
Today.
riding my bike. Remember you rode your bike in the parade?
Yeah.
And you decorated it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is so sweet.
I've got a Uncle Sam's hat on that my mother made me wear.
It's huge.
It kept going off.
I had one like that, but it's huge. I was an abdo man.
You were the what?
Abdo man.
Oh, you were.
Yeah.
I could fit it better. I was too skinny back then.
I call them belly boys.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, Bloody Mary's helped you get.
The only place to really, the only fast food place,
I know.
well, there were two, BBS, do you remember the BBS?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Port of
There was
Ira?
a BBS and indoor, and then there was a, the
Stewart's.
That was
Stewart's,
fancy.
Stewart's. Yeah, we couldn't go to PBF was a big treat. And one of the funnier stories are, whenever we would want to do something extra as a family, my dad would say, well, let me look in the hole. And he'd get this wall, and there was a little hole, and we never figured out how he had extra money in the well. And after he died, my mom got his paycheck. His big thing was, he'd get his paycheck, he'd go to the bank, he'd cash his paycheck, he'd give it to my mom. We found out he made like $20 more each pay.
Oh,
And he never told my mom. And I was
Oh.
I always had money to do something extra, but I mean, we didn't go out to eat as
No,
kids, like
you didn't go out.
we go as families now.
Yeah.
The bowling alley, I think, was a nice restaurant. On 21st Street.
Yeah, we had a fish fry. We didn't go out, but we went to the fish fry.
Yeah. Yeah, if you went out, it wasn't.
I remember riding my bike to LK, probably with Superstar, or you or somebody, it was like, we were in New York City, that was.
I love it.
By myself, yeah, we go.
Well, we could probably go on for a couple more hours, but it's after 8, so some of us need to get to bed.
You old?
I am old, officially. So if anybody wants to kind of sum up growing up in Granville, like good, bad, ugly.
Great, it's awesome.
I think we've had a good time. I've
Yeah.
learned a little bit.
It was amazing, and it was a place where everybody cared about everybody when something would happen. I mean, I learned that at a very young age when community came together and the school came together and they just did things to support one another. It was like a huge family, really.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
safe. I
And it
feel
was
like,
really connected by the churches so much, you
I
know.
think it was a
It
good,
still is,
safe
but like back
place.
then it was really connected. I felt.
Safe and so small, just,
And you
You
felt
know?
like you really did know everybody. I mean, you could walk through town
I did.
and say hi to Mr. or Mrs. and the kids above and below you in class.
And now you don't know anybody.
Yeah, now you're like,
I do say, who are these people in my village?
Well, I guess on that, I walk on the bike path. I'll be walking down the bike path and we can walk on. I look, you know, friend like everybody.
Right.
I look and say hi, like that.
Well, yeah, and Toad said that when we sat down. Back then, you know, you were friends, it was so fluid. You were friends with
Right.
kids ahead of you, behind you, brothers, sisters, everybody played together and were on teams together or in group, you know, activities, band, whatever, together.
Some of us have been
It's great.
gone for a long time and then have come back.
Yes,
I mean, and
Yeah.
I know that there's other people here really back to Granville. And, you know, so, but always felt a connection.
Yeah.
Always felt like this was home to come
Aw.
back to, no matter what. So, and I'm happy to be back.
yes.
Do you
Yeah.
know, on the 4th of July, we lived overseas for 10 years, and every summer we'd come home.
Yep.
And lovely little cave fever would squeal and say, Darcy, because her dad and I share a birthday, and it was a big deal, but I would bring our kids here, and they enjoyed Spring Valley, and I remember that Tyler and Debbie were on the Ferris wheel one year, and she would always say to them, look at Aunt Debbie's village. And that was the name of the town.
Yeah.
I know it was not. It was a great place to go.
Yes, it was a great place.
I will say, since I work here at the Historical Society, it's amazing to me how many Denison grads that actually went to college here, never lived here, went to college, and then have come back to live,
Oh,
to
have
retire.
Well,
Yeah,
even,
lots.
I think even Granville
Yeah.
kids grow up and you know, everybody knowing and getting in trouble because, you know, moms and dads talking to her like, I can't wait to get out.
Mhm.
You leave, but then it's like,
Yes.
oh, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Because it was the best.
Yeah, but I mean, to go to college in
Yeah.
a place
Yeah.
and then choose to retire there, that says a lot about the community,
Yes,
about
it
the
does.
college.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty cool.
There's even parents of Denison students who
Yeah.
were here a lot,
Mhm.
during the 4 years their kids were here, then ended up retiring here. because They
I
liked the
love
village
that.
so much.
We're really blessed.
Exactly.